normal.
This is the simplest of the exercise, but you can just talk to us.
Right. This is, I feel very, very important that if you have kids, you go through all that trouble of raising them, and you want them to be independent, free thinking, you can hear me? I'm loud without the microphone. You raise your children to be free thinking, independent, able to take care of themselves, and be like you. Then when they do everything except be like you, you're not real happy about it. I've known kids who were furry, kids who were gay, whose parents do not have anything to do with them. Part of it, I think, is the fault of a parent, but part of it is the way the child handled speaking to the parent about it. I feel very, very strongly that there isn't any reason for anybody to come out. I was asked when my son was 13 by a person who used to be a friend, "Is your son gay?" My answer was, "That's none of my business. What I do in my bedroom, we don't discuss. What he does with his body, we don't discuss. His father has given him whatever information fathers give their sons. It was sufficient for him. His awakening to his sexuality, which I still don't know exactly what it is, has evolved. We don't discuss it. It's none of my business." The biggest mistake I think that a kid can make is to say, "Oh, Mom, guess what? I'm gay." If your parent hasn't suspected something's different up until that time, there's something really, really wrong with your relationship. If your kid doesn't date boys or girls are always hanging out with girls, you know, parents aren't stupid for the most part. The stupid parents are the ones who haven't talked to their kid in 12 years because she said, "Hey, Mom, I'm gay." And the neighbors found out. Heaven forbid the neighbors are going to find out. Or the relatives. The neighbors are going to move away, the relatives are going to die, and your kid is still going to be your kid. And if you decide, "I'm not going to talk to him because he shocked me," or "she shocked me," big deal. It's your child. You love your child because it's your child. And besides, gay kids treat their parents better than not gay kids. There are Indian societies that I just found out about in South America where the mothers always want one of the kids to be gay so they can take care of them when they get older. And they do. My daughters have their own families, their own grandchildren and great-grandchildren. My son just has me. So I'm the person he spoils. I spoiled him when he was little, and he can spoil me now. How many of you have said to your parents, "I'm gay"? And what was their reaction?
My father nearly died because he choked on some fries, French fries.
Did he know?
No. My parents
He had no
never
suspicion?
suspected anything. Never.
What? Did he ever notice that you were dating or not dating?
Not a single time. They tried to make me a normal guy when I was about 14 years old.
So they knew?
No, they didn't know. They knew that I had no interest in women, but they never suspected anything about being gay or bisexual.
But I think if they tried to make you normal, they knew.
Okay.
They knew, they suspected, they weren't happy about it. Because, oh God forbid, our neighbors will find out. Neighbors aren't important. Your child is important. And my message to the adults, the parents I talk to, is love your kid. Sometimes it's the only kid you have. If you reject them, if one parent rejects them and the other doesn't, it's because it wasn't presented properly. People evolve, starting at birth. They evolve into what they're going to be as adults. The parents guide them, do the best they can to give them the information that they want or the information that they need. I don't know what percentage of them or what age the children get involved in romantic interests, different all over, and they move away. So if you're living with a guy or you're living with a girl, or two guys or two girls, who cares? My thing is, big thing is, biggest mistake you can make is to say, hey, I'm gay. It's a shock. It's a real shock to a lot of parents. And a lot of it is the way it's presented. You need to ease into it. You don't have to be sneaky about it. If they say, why aren't you dating girls? I haven't met one that interests me. How come you date boys? They're not interested in me. I'm not interested in any of the ones I know. That's all you need to do. And they'll throw them at you. Say, oh, my sister's aunt's cousin has a kid that would be perfect for you. No, it wasn't a perfect person. So they'll keep on doing that. You can avoid it easy. Be the best kid to them that you can, and eventually they'll come around. I really, really believe that the parents who reject their child age 15, 16, 20, whatever, are sorry about it at some point in the future, but they don't know how to get back to being friendly. I was telling you a story about a thing that I think I read in Dear Abby. A boy came out to his parents when he was in his middle teens, and they threw him out, go live with a guy someplace. So he did, and he wound up with a very happy relationship. Parents lived on the East Coast. The boy moved with his who he married to the West Coast, and they were successful because they had no kids that they had to spend money on. And when the father died, the mother was alone, and the daughter said, okay, Mom, you're 60, whatever, 63. We'll help you get into a nursing home. Thanks a whole bunch. We want to go into a nursing home and sit around with all the old ladies that are waiting to die? No, we're living a lot longer. Back to my story, the son called the mother when he heard the father had died. And he said, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I just want you to know that I love you, I love Dad, and we'd love to have you come out and visit. She went out and visited. They treated her well. She liked it so much she stayed. They built an addition on her house. The daughters, of course, were furious. Tough. That's their problem, not yours, not the mother's. The mother then had two sons who treated her like their mom. And there is nothing in this world better than having a son treat you like you're special. And if you don't have that kind of relationship with your mom, get it. Get it. I don't think that there's really anything that a kid can do that the mother won't eventually forgive them for, even for embarrassing them in front of their neighbors. Okay? Any questions? Questions?
Falls jemand kein Englisch spricht, wir bieten auch deutsche Übersetzung an.
Oh, do all of you speak English? Too late. Anybody needs a translator? I brought him especially up here to be able to translate. Great. That was because of the parents that I was hoping would come, but the parents didn't. Next time I do this, get your parents here. I've been trying to get a panel at Anthrocon for a long time because a lot of parents come to Anthrocon, and I've spoken with a lot of them in the same manner, and they think that I have maybe convinced some of them that they've been too harsh on their child. A child is your child for the rest of their life, and anybody else doesn't really matter. So I understand that there are parents that are so out there that they're never going to change. But you can associate with them. You don't have to have an intimate, close mom-kid relationship, but you can be friends with them. Don't talk about it. It's not their business. Am I making myself clear?
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to know? These are just thoughts off the top of my head.
Can everyone hear?
Yep. Can everyone hear?
Can't hear, please raise
Can everyone hear? Microphone before. So if you didn't hear anything I said, I'll say it again. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
It's comfortable for me down here.
And if everybody has questions, I can come down and hand you over the microphone so you can address it directly.
Yes.
Go ahead. There's a question over here.
Thank you very much. I personally think that parents which had a very hard childhood and even a tough life when they were getting older are more open to their children being different. As my mother found out that I have a friend, she said to my dad, "Please don't be like my dad, be his dad." Because my grandpa wasn't that open. And she had a fourth childhood, and he didn't appreciate much what she did, and chose it right to be even more open to me. And I think that's also a sort of message I wanted to say, that even if it's tough, try to be open to your child. And yes, like you said, your child is here for you. You may have people around you which are telling you stuff like, well, if you do this and that, you will get this. And in the end, once you need them, you won't have any of your neighbors because, well, we do not have time. Your child may have time. Thank you.
Was there a question in there?
I think you just wanted to make a statement.
Okay, if anybody would like to comment about their own experiences that they would like to share with others down here?
I have pretty strict parents because I was raised in Germany, but I was born in Iraq. So both of my parents are Iraqis. So we have a lot of tradition going on, and so it's a pretty difficult thing, like to explain to them where I was even going, like interference or something like that.
Do you see them?
My parents?
Yes.
Yes, but currently my father doesn't live with us
Okay.
because of tensions between him and my little brother. It's just like,
Family.
yes, this is just family. This is like an Arabic family. The dad has to be.
And it's something that he's ashamed. He has, my kid isn't what we all wanted him to be, but
Yes.
hey, he's a great kid anyhow, is the correct answer, which Iraqi men have a difficult time with that.
I can totally agree with you on that. Because, well, it's just like he has to be like the head of the house. So whenever I try to discuss with him, normally he ends up shouting at me. And I'm just like, okay, forget it. I'm just going downstairs and you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Because it's no use in actually talking to him because he's so stubborn.
Does he put pressure on you to see girls?
Again, please?
Does he try to get you to go out with girls?
Well, there's this story when I was like 15 years old. He came up to me when I went back from school and literally just asked me, "Oh well, when will you bring kids back home?"
Parents do that.
Yes.
We want grandchildren for some strange reason. After the first couple, we're done. How many kids can you get dumped on you where the parents go to the movies or out to dinner, and here you are with these little babies again? So if he has other grandchildren, he doesn't need any more.
No, we currently have no grandchildren.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You could adopt if you care to have a kid running
Oh,
around.
well, at some point, yes, but not
Yeah.
now. I'm still, like,
Yeah.
getting everything sorted
With
out.
people who are super religious, it's really difficult. There are religions that this is an abomination. My thing is, and studies have shown that every mammalian population has 10% homosexuality. From cats, dogs, elephants, bumblebees, everything has 10%. Somebody made us all like we are. And if it was your God, hey, your God did this to me. So you find out from your God how you're supposed to treat me. There must be something somewhere.
I can totally agree with
They
you.
hide those pages. It's like, I was talking to a Muslim man not too recently, and a comment was made to me, "You're getting awful friendly with those Muslims." I said, "Yeah, best friends I've ever had." And she said, "Well, aren't you scared?" "No, why should I be scared?" "Well, their Quran says they're supposed to kill the infidel." You know what infidel means? There's two interpretations of infidel. One interpreter reads it as one who goes by the book. And another one interprets it as one who goes by a book. This isn't somebody you're supposed to kill. This is something I talked with my Muslim friend about. He laughed. It was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. He's an American citizen, but he follows a Muslim faith. That's fine.
My parents could probably learn a lot from you, I have to say that.
Yes. The worst, most difficult are the born-again Baptists. How many of you are from born-again Baptist families or Church of Christ? My husband was from that. And we have never discussed with my husband's family. A couple of times they've said, "Is Sam interested in having kids?" No, he's not. He doesn't like children. He didn't even like his own brother and sisters. You know? His nieces and nephews he tolerates because they're there when he's at the house. He doesn't like kids. They get into his computer. They scratch up his CDs. They write on his walls. This is what parents have to put up with when they have kids. You want that? Fine, go and have a kid. You don't want it? Be gay. Anybody else? Down here? Oh, got one here.
Hello, sorry. For the people that haven't had the courage to talk to their parents about their sexuality or interests, like the furry community, what would you say would be the best kind of way to approach it with parents? What would you say the best way would be to tell your parents and come up with something like that?
About being furry?
Yeah, being furry or your sexuality being gay or anything like that. What would
I
you say
think
to
it's
people that haven't?
by what you do, not by what you say. If you're going to make a fursuit and you got all this fur that you bought, and your mom says, "What are you doing?" "I'm making a fursuit." "Well, why?" "Because I really think that this is really neat. And this is why I think it's really neat. Because people think I'm different because I'm not like blue-eyed, blonde-haired Susie next door with her buttons and bows and big Barbie dolls and stuff. But this is what I like. What's your mom going to say? You shouldn't like this? Either she's going to get a little interested in it, but this is like opening the door to talk about furry. There are parents who think furry is worse than being gay. And gay furries. My one daughter is anti-fur. My other daughter is a furry. My oldest daughter thinks we're crazy. She thinks we're real crazy. She's the one who made the comment about the Muslims. And at Thanksgiving, my son wants to get me a burqa to drive up to their house. I don't know whether they would kick us out. I'm like, oh, now I know how the furries feel when they want to say, hey, Mom, I'm gay. You got to sneak into it a little bit. They'll see what you're doing. They'll see that you're doing something different from what their girlfriend's daughter is doing. Crimping up and putting curlers and going to the prom and all that kind of stuff. The thing that I think is sad is the girls can't crimp up and go to the prom with each other. That would be, to me, that would be the ideal thing for a girl to be able to do. Probably 15, 20 years it'll be a reality because things evolve slower than we want it to. If you look at the civil rights movement, it evolved. It's gotten better. It's gotten a little worse, then it gets better. It gets a little worse. But each time it's going forward. And this is the same kind of thing that's going to happen with furs and with gay people. It's going to get there. Maybe not in my lifetime, but maybe in yours. And that'll be neat. See your kid get all dressed up and her girlfriend come in a tux and get in the limo, the pink limo, and go to the prom. And nobody really say anything about it. I think that a lot of schools are doing a whole lot to promote tolerance of people who aren't exactly like us, especially the transgender kids. I have so much empathy for them because it's so hard for their parents. But it's getting there. And there is hope for the future. Don't get discouraged. Don't get mad back at your parents. They loved you at one point and they'll love you again. It may take 20 or 30 years for some of them, but you keep on trying. If they say get out, don't just get out. Just give them a chance to grow and learn on their own. Except for a few I know. I haven't talked to the kid in 50 years, which is very sad. Very, very sad. They miss the whole adulthood, and they're dying now. Too bad. No problem. They were raised in a generation where this was a horrible thing. It was swept under the rug, hidden. Everybody pretended it didn't happen. It also happened with kids who were autistic. I had autistic people in my family. Nobody talked about it. There was Bertie, he was funny. But he just stayed home all the time. And the other kids made fun of him when he went outside. Now autistic children, for the most part, are treated as human beings. They're not treated as some stupid retard that nobody wants to associate with. It's coming. And I think it's coming faster now than it did when I was your age, because I didn't even know that there were people who were gay until I was around 30. Nobody talked about it. I knew two guys who lived together, they were roommates. That's enough. Nobody said, oh, they're gay. As a matter of fact, I think that there was probably more tolerance of gay people back in the 50s than there was in the 80s and 90s. Because nobody talked about it. It was their own business. So, that's all. Questions? Did I answer your question? This little girl, look, sorry about that. Young lady over here. Tiny little lady.
Right. In my personal experience, coming out with a lot of things to my parents is very difficult purely because they don't get it. It's like my mum's always been quite the casual parent, but my stepdad is the more dominant role in basically my parents and how the house runs. So if I talk to something about my mum, to my mum, and then she talks to my dad about it, it gets really awkward because if he's not okay with it, then my mum has to not be okay with it for things to function.
So she can please him, she has to not be okay with it.
Yeah, it's like some things obviously a little bit easier and I can convince them otherwise, but there's a lot of it is to do with my gender. I consider myself gender fluid, and it's very difficult because of the fact it's not.
You're talking too fast.
Sorry.
Ears.
No, I consider myself gender fluid, which means I don't identify specifically
Yes.
to anything. And of course, my parents have said comments before, like unintentionally and not directly at me because I've come out, but it's off-put me. So I'm really, I want to come out. I've been this way for a year and I don't want to hide it. So
you want to defend other people who are that way,
yes.
so that you can ease into. I don't think what you're doing is hiding it. I think what you're doing is just not discussing it. It goes back to, we don't tell our children everything about us, personal thoughts, things that we fantasize about. Even grown-ups, even old people have fantasies. I would like to be a hawk, you know. I don't go around telling people, oh, I wish I was a hawk. They swoop down on people and grab their eyes and eat them. This is a thing that amuses me. And I don't have to tell anybody about it. I certainly never told my husband about it.
Yeah, a lot of it is essentially I kind of live a double life in a sense, because at home I have a different name outside with like my friends and my other peers, purely because I'm more
So you
comfortable
are
with it.
leading a double life.
Pretty much. It's like me now is not me at home. Like I'm in another country at the moment going to a furry convention.
That's sad. I don't know. Does anybody have any suggestions on how she can help that? Back here.
Well, I might have a suggestion to that. Just be at home. When you're at home, just be yourself. Like when you're at this furry convention with the Eurofurence, so just be the same at home. Your parents will eventually get the hints. I did that with my parents. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to Eurofurence. What are you going to do there? Well, just party. Yes, I just literally told them I'm just gonna party and meet my friends back from Belgium.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you do.
Yes, I
But
actually
it's
did.
with people who you all love each other. We all love each other. Why can't our parents love us the same way? This eats at us. That the parents, what's wrong with my parents? Well, that's a good question. Nothing wrong with you, there's something wrong with your parents.
What you can do, I had a lot of friends who had problems with their stepdad, and what I told them is just like, well, be yourself at home. You're currently living a double life that will give you so many headaches. I had that for some time too. So just stop getting a double life and just get one life. Yes.
If
Just-
you can combine the two lives, if you can sort of ease into a middle ground, or if you don't want to be a middle ground, just start dropping hints. Don't just come out and give them this double whammy, because it shocks them and it hurts them and they feel like they're complete failures. Parents always think anything that happens to a kid is their fault. It's the parents' fault, not the kid's fault. So then they live with the guilt. Oh, what did I do wrong? If you ease into it and not try to live a double life. If you want to say, hey, I don't like being this way, I would prefer to be doing whatever. And you know what? I hate my name. I'm sorry that you loved this name and gave it to me, but I really hate it. And my friends call me my new name. That might be a way to start. Just name thing. As far as gender, I really think you need to ease into it. There is very few straight-laced, not laid-back parents who aren't going to be shocked if they don't know something, if they don't suspect something. And I can't understand how they can't suspect something.
Well,
Other people will have to say it to you, is your kid gay? I don't know. Oh no, not my child. There has to be some kind of dialogue before the child really gets to the point where they need to say, I'm gay. it's on them. It's not on you. Let them come to try that and then come to you. You live at home? That's tough. That's really tough. Just hang in there. You're young yet. Don't force it. Anybody else? Questions? Yes. Comments over here?
Actually, I got two different experiences with parents. For example, my parents, they were quite cool about it. My mother one day asked me, say, are you interested in boys? I just said, yes, I am. And she was like, we already suspected it. And yeah, they are quite cool because they had a hard time earlier when they were in their first days of the relationship. Because for about, I guess, 20 years, they lived in a wild marriage, as we call it in Germany. So they were together, but they weren't married at all. And so the people in our region, they always gave them those looks like, what the hell do you want here? So they didn't have it easy, and yeah, that was my experience I had with my parents. The second one was with a good friend of mine. He asked me to be with him when he told his parents that he was gay. It was me. I was sitting next to him, and he said, "Mom, Dad, I'm gay." His father just said to his mother, "You owe me $10."
Child. It's a wise parent who knows their own child.
Yeah.
You know, if your kid gets to be 16, 17, 18, and you don't know, where have you been all those years? That's it. Where have you been? This is what I want to tell the parents. This is your fault if you don't know. I cannot imagine a child, usually you're aware of your sexuality by the time you're 10, 11, sometimes younger. But I think most kids, it's around 10 or 11, when puberty sets in and they start being interested in the opposite sex or the same sex. If they've lived in a household where that's a bad thing, there has to be conversations, and it's hard to tell a 10 or 11-year-old they have to start the conversation. But they need to ask questions. And if they don't get good answers, Google it and show it to the parents. Google has everything.
Yep, it does.
Yes, that was good said, parents. Next, question, comment.
This might go along with the last two questions, I believe. I've always believed the best way to tell parents about possibly controversial things that they are not necessarily negative towards but uneasy about is to tell them in the most casual way possible.
Yes.
Because then you can set the entire mood for the conversation. Because if you walk up to your parents and go, "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you about something," you know, then your parents will go, "Oh my God, what is happening now? What did he set on
You're
fire?"
exactly right. Yes. You have to ask them.
And I think that is especially important if people are still underage, because then the parents have some degree of legal control over their children, and that can create a lot of anxiety on part of the children, and they're even more careful about what they tell parents to avoid repercussions or overreactions.
Yes, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. It's been a long time since I was a 12-year-old, and I don't remember a lot of interaction that I had with my parents. I do know that I asked questions. They used to say, "What is it now?" I wanted to know everything. Everything that interested me, anything I read in books, anything that people talked about. I would ask questions. If they didn't know, they'd say, I don't know. Okay, and try to find it out someplace else. If they're asking questions about sexuality, there's all kinds of books. If the parents don't get the books, the kids can get the books. Somebody's going to write a book sometime about how to handle your gay child. I don't think I'll have time to do it in my lifetime, but somebody's going to write one. And it's going to be like Abby, or whoever, Ann Landers. Abby Landers, and Dear Abby. How do I do this? There's answers out there. Lots of answers. Just ask me, I got them all. The thing is, don't shock your parents. If you want to ask questions, it's hard to tell a 12-year-old to be diplomatic asking questions, because they come right out and say, oh, Andrea said she's 4 and I'm 3, and Andrea said babies come out of mommy's tummies. Is that right? Yeah. How did they get there? God did it. God did it. Okay, that was it. That was all that she needed. She didn't need any more information. Yeah, that's true. And I thought that I would have to go into this big long, how it got there and love and all that. She didn't need that information at that age. I don't know when she got it. She didn't get it from me ever again because I evaded the question. My son never asked me anything. Well, he talked with his dad. And I never asked what they talked about. I would imagine that my husband was supportive of him because my husband was from a really, really strict Southern Baptist and Church of Christ family. Their Church of Christ family was so, I don't want to say backwards. They were so backwards that they didn't allow organs or pianos in the church because that took away from glorifying God. And anything that didn't do this was an abomination. And so my husband took off and moved up north. And gradually, if any of that ever took, he lost it. He didn't force me to go to church or any of the stuff that they tried to indoctrinate into him. We just, with his family, we just don't talk about it. None of their business. They don't ask. Don't ask, okay. That's just my personal feeling is you don't need to force this down anybody's throat. That's all. Anybody else? Let's start right here.
Just a statement. I've seen that mothers are normally more accepting than fathers.
You know why? The fathers feel threatened, because most of them have had some homosexual feelings at some point in their lives, and it has scared them. And then they get scared for their kids.
My parents affect me as a parent because I'm happy, my mother is happy.
If your kids are happy, you're happy. Why don't you want your children to be happy?
Yes, that's right.
You know, my daughter's a Republican, and she's happy. I'm happy. I try not to talk about it. She would like to convert me. She's happy doing this. I don't know whether she's going to be happy in the future because things aren't going to go right.
It's not right.
At a time when I'm not here anymore to listen to it. Happiness is very important. If you're happy with yourself, you don't need to be anything else. Parents need their children to be happy. I don't understand a parent who doesn't back their child. Somebody always had my back from the time I was little. It was my dad or friends or family. Who's got your back? Your mate? That's it. Or your friend, your gay or furry friends. Parents need to have their kids back. Next.
Hello. I never actually told my parents I'm a furry. We never really talked about this. I'm quite old now, 29. So is there even a point of me when they ask what were you doing in Berlin and stuff to tell them? No, the thing is, I'm from a rather country that's not really that advanced. They might not understand. They might misunderstand the whole concept of furry. So what would you suggest? If it doesn't hurt.
You need to ease them into it gradually. Show them pictures of just a line of furries. Why are these people dressing up as animals? Because they love animals. They don't want to be animals. Well, most of them don't want to be animals. It's fun, and if you're in a costume, it's a way to be anonymous and do some things that you may be too shy to do. How many people come up in their fursuits and give me a hug and they've never seen me before and I've never seen them? I may have seen a costume that looks like them. I love to get hugs. It makes me happy. This is something you can tell them. If you're shy and you're in fursuit, you can be not shy. You can be anything you want to be. It's like being in a Halloween costume. Everybody loves having their kids in Halloween costumes. The parents push it every year, and the kids are happy, and that makes the parents happy. So as they get older and they abandon the Halloween costumes, which they loved, they're going to make furry costumes. And if you identify with a particular animal, yeah, I love dogs. I love dogs. I love wolves. I think they're really neat. They'll get it. They will eventually get it, even if they're really narrow-minded or uneducated about things that don't concern them. I know some highly intelligent people who don't have a clue about what goes on in the world around them because they haven't taken the time. They just are focused on something narrow. They don't take the time. You have a good opportunity to open their world up for them. I just say, get them to a convention. How many of you had parents come to a convention and all of a sudden they realize they're furry? Right? This is what happened with us. I've always loved animals. I knew I loved animals. I knew I loved wolves especially. Losing my voice. The only person I really had to come out to about being furry was my oldest daughter. And she still disapproves. But she still loves me because I'm her mom. She calls me every night. She's called me and left messages on my phone every night. And the end of it is always, I love you, Mom. That's okay, so I guess she accepts that I'm furry. She thinks I'm crazy for being furry, but her problem, not mine. I need a cough drop. Sorry about that. I usually don't talk this long. It's the dryness in the air. Doesn't this bother your throats?
Yes.
It really bothers me a lot. I would offer you all one, but I have 3 left.
We'll get you some new ones.
I have a bunch back in the hotel room. Any other questions or comments?
Okay. I wanted to ask, if you already have problems with your parents accepting things and have a lot of difficult discussions with them, how it is possible to keep still a good relationship even if you have problems with bringing them near the way you live and the things you do.
Keep on loving them and letting them know you love them. Don't let them get you into an argument. You're not going to win because they are this focused thing. If you can show them that you're a good person, you're leading a good life, you're not doing anything to hurt anybody else. This is what we want for our children. To be happy, not go to jail, not get convicted of murder. Well, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that kids can do that are a lot worse than being furry or being gay. How many gay murderers do you know? Have there been any?
No.
How many furry murderers? But people have kids who are murderers, and they go to visit them in prison and they still love them. I don't know why. If my kid killed somebody, would I go to visit him? Probably. Would I still love him? Probably. I would disapprove wholeheartedly of what he did. I would probably try to make excuses and say, oh, he was wrongly convicted. I think that's probably what you would do in that case. Why, if your kid does nothing wrong, can't you just accept that the child is who they are? Keep on loving them. Parents, keep on loving the kids. Kids, keep on loving your parents. Invite them out to dinner. Give them birthday presents. If you don't have the money for presents, make a little card on Valentine's Day. Send a heart card to your mom. She'll come around, I bet you. Just be nice. Don't get your back up. The worst thing you can do is to get your back up and start arguing back. Because you're not going to change the way they feel in one argument. Swallow your tongue. Swallow your pride. Let it go. Right off your back. Nothing they say can hurt you. If they take a stick and hit you, that can hurt you. But they're not going to do that. It's their problem, not yours. Over here. I don't know how long I'm supposed to stay up here for you.
It's no secret, so it doesn't matter.
If anybody says okay, enough is enough, just tell me. As long as my throat lasts, I could go on all day. Hi.
We fostered 2 teenage furries.
I can't hear you.
We fostered 2 teenage furries. We don't have children of our
Yes.
own. But we took them in because they'd been rejected by their families. Both gay, both with autism, both really wonderful. You know, they've enhanced our lives to know them.